And we are live. Thank you everybody for joining. If you're joining in and watching this on a replay, let us know you came in and where you're from, and we'll come back and we'll definitely interact with you. My name is Ian Gray. I got inspired to start this new show, and right after Mira Megs here had posted something that was so incredibly beautiful that was in line with it, I'm like, you know what? I think we're gonna have the first pilot together. And we haven't talked and been on a call since, well, I don't, did we have a call even after Costa Rica? I think we had one or two.
I think so, but yeah, exactly. Our quality time was in Costa Rica like maybe a year and a half ago, but then we've been connecting since then around bringing heaven to earth.
Soul's mission right here. Soul's mission right here, and there's an interesting way to do this and to actually have that execution happen. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Mira Megs has a platform that she shares with people, so we might even get into that. We're going to share the message with you that got us linked back together on this. So this is kind of like a pilot work in progress. For all of those of you that are joining, I'm going to just read a little bit of what the premise is for you guys. I have it in the descriptions here, but I would like to capture the essence of that and then turn it over to Mira Megs to talk a little bit about the intention for this show, because she said it earlier and it just melted my heart. I'm like, let's hear that again, and again. So this show is called Television, and it's really on the etymology of something that all of us have looked at, many of us have looked at probably every day of our lives, at least in the last 20 years, which is this thing that hangs on the wall, a television. However, looking at it, it's telling us a vision is actually what it's doing if we break down the etymology of the word. And with that in mind, those visions become reality. So what's on the television on the wall is going to put into the psyche a certain state of being. And I wanted to create something that was visions of people that live by their heart, people that are passionate about their lives and that can share what inspires them, their own visions for the future, their visions for all of mankind, so that we can all share in that vision and hold it to something brighter than we could have ever thought possible before we heard the vision, right? Bringing out about a world of possibility.
Yes.
Because what we think about is what we bring about. And the more stuff we take in from outside, that's actually like taking food or eating any day of the week. So if we eat junky foods, we're going to feel junky. If we eat junky content by listening to it and watching it, we're going to think junky thoughts, and our decision making is going to be based around that. So I'm really, really excited to have Mira Megs on. Would you share with the audience? We really have some people on here, and please share this. Get people on watching this. Would you share a little about your intention coming on for today, what you'd like the outcome to be for us and the viewers, mankind?
Yes. So we're in such a potent time being indoors and sheltering and going through this wave that has gone over the planet together. And we're all united for the first time in a long time in something common. We're all experiencing it differently and having different impacts, but there is an impact that we're all having. And during this time, we all sense, right, that we're going to be able to start coming out of this in, I just lost you. Can you still see me? I don't see you anymore.
I can still see you.
Okay.
I'm giving you solo.
Oh, great. Okay, good. So when we come out of this time, say in a few weeks or a few months, whenever it ends up being, the intention that I'm holding so deep in my heart and have been sharing with people is that we do come out changed. That we come out, and the way we participate in the economy and with each other, and the way we're in exchange or contribution to the world that we're creating, and everything we say and everything we purchase and everything we contribute to or co-create, may we come out changed and realize that now really is the beginning of this transformation of creating a planet that works for everyone, that works for us as a planet, as one being financially, that works for us as one physical body. So what I'm so excited about is that we can step out and like you said, Ian, about the show, like living in these possibilities is what possibility are we going to start emerging out into the world holding and sharing? And are we going to cast this vision and realize that our words and our behaviors and our actions are what are generating that possibility for ourselves and everyone around us? And there's such potency in each of our individual power, creating that collective shift.
I completely agree with everything that you just said there. I mean, I feel like I could take every element and be like, I can't stress this one enough. It's the agreement when I can see your vision, right? So when I can actually see your vision, it raises your level of belief for manifestation. And it actually is what ends up ultimately creating one's reality is having these visions repeated so like over and over. And this time and this reset, I'm going to call it reset rather than saying it's because it's a certain vibration that's coming through and it's affecting everybody in a different way. Some people it affected really hard. Some people it's like a breeze, but it's a vibration coming through that's sweeping through the consciousness of mankind to stir things up and bring things to light. And never before, when was the last time people had this much time to think about their lives or take care of what was going on, even if it's just cleaning their houses, right? Whatever it is, just getting things a little bit more organized. And if we all got a little bit more clear on what it was that we wanted to create and moved in the direction of what our heart is calling for, if we all did that 10% more or 1% more as a collective, I'm just thinking about the changes that would happen, the changes that would happen, and that's through what we buy or a lot of times don't buy, right? What we spend our time doing, or maybe what we don't spend our time doing anymore. And all these little things, now is the perfect opportunity to see what's really important.
Yes, absolutely. I think us making space is something I've been really doing for the visions to come through and to participate in people's visions. And I think also just as important I've noticed is how we're listening to other people. Like both our speaking and our listening of visions. And being a visionary myself, and I'm sure a lot of people listening, it can be vulnerable, right? And we can be putting something out there we can be telling a vision that's not reality yet. It's a vision and it's a possible reality. And so I think something that's so powerful at this time is for us to all notice, like, are we us being in that favorable and receptive space of what visions we align and resonate with? And if we do resonate with like the show you're creating or a vision I put out there or something one of my colleagues says, like, what can we do to energetically align with it so that vision can gain momentum and be fulfilled upon and be resourced and be interconnected and have the word spread. And so there's something that that I've really noticed during this time that I've gone through has been a period of really releasing some of those deeper beliefs I have that fall in the category of buts, or like, I can't, or I don't know how that could work. It's too big. Like, I don't have what's needed. And the thing that is like really my intention under the intention that I shared with you is that we can find the courage within ourselves to be a part of visions that others share and our own visions from our heart, even if we don't know how, and even if we don't yet have all the pieces. Like, by nature, we won't have all the pieces. Like, a vision means that it does not yet have the resources, the people, the structure. So when I broke through so many of my buts and my own limitations, my vision started to come through and people are starting to see it and we're starting to connect to it. And I notice that as I share my vision, it brings up other people's buts and concerns as well that are oftentimes similar to the ones I've just gone through. So I can keep saying more, but I'll pause in case you want to comment on that. But there's a lot I'd love to share about that.
Yeah, so what I'd have to say, those buts that once I discover my but, then I start hearing them from everybody else. But it's actually just a reflection of my own self-doubt that I had. right? And it's now it's testing, it's like testing me. Like, are you ready
Yes,
to break
yes,
through the
yes,
illusion? Are
yes,
you ready to break through the illusion?
yes,
Because now you're going to be tested, and people are going to start putting their doubts to you. And but it's really just how I'm perceiving.
yes,
It's my perception of the reflection that I'm projecting, or I was projecting a moment ago, like the wake off the ship.
yes. And it,
So, so that gives power to the beholder. It gives power to the speaker. It
yeah,
gives power, like the energy is all right here in my heart. Am I willing to stand for it?
yes.
And no matter what, until the outside starts to match it. And sometimes that means crazy freaking chaos.
I know it. How do you handle the chaos? What have been, do you have any suggestions? Now I'm interviewing you too. This is a co-creative visionary conversation. How have you handled that? A process of being empowered as the beholder.
Well, I think it goes back to remembering that who I see is who I be, or what I think about, I bring about. So that I just always remembering that I'm projecting this, and all that happens is just happening. I'm just an observer to it's happening.
Yes.
And getting back to that place.
Yes. Yes.
And that took a while to understand, because I had to get out of the duality of it and who's right or wrong. And it goes back to what you were saying before about the conversations that we're having now. The conversations that I would have 6 months ago when I presented some of this stuff, I got so many yeah buts, like you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I got lots of pushback. I got people that would get angry. Yes. And people get angry because they don't want things to change. It's the cognitive dissonance.
Yes.
Right? So yep. That whole lashback, that's one way to explain on one level of awareness, right? If I'm not going to be the creator, right?
Right. Well, we go from it's happening to me, to it's happening for me, to it's happening through me, to it's happening as me. And it's like, so I just to relate with you on this one point you're saying, it's like, at first when we share and we get the yeah buts, it's happening to us, and then we realize, oh, this is shaping me and forming me, and I'm being chiseled into a deeper conviction and deeper clarity of this, and so it starts to be happening for us. And then I think I'm sort of at a place with a lot of my visions where it's happening through me, and the aligned people that are there are emerging, and what's not there sort of falling away. And I'm, asking for guidance and holding in meditation to really see being the co-creator and really holding it all. That's like that more, an enlightened dance. But as I think the part that I'm seeing of being the creator is what we were touching on, and that when we expand and we share these visions and it shows up and people have the responses they have of resonance or dissonance, there's a contraction. And then in that contraction is when there's the processing of the stories or narratives or discomfort of reality shifting or what's possible, and the limiting beliefs that come up and concerns of time or money or the unknown and how are we going to do it. Then we expand out again into the next layer of what it is. And then that contraction and expansion is, I'm sensing, is being the creator and then being co-creators with each other in the dance of that expansion and contraction. And each time we expand out, it's more and more out. And then, but our human part in the, our human dimension has, in the contraction, we get to clear out and tune in to any remaining, what densities are there, what belief systems are there, what's in our system to be transmuted and up-leveled and acknowledged and loved, so that next expansion reaches even further.
So well put. And I could see it as the polarity of the masculine and feminine, right?
Yeah.
Or the beating of the heart. Like all of these is and isn't, the yin and the yang. And that's that darkness and light, the duality, which, right, we have two eyes, the two hemispheres of the brain, which split us into a dual being, like in the animal part of this, right? The perception and the 3D.
Yes.
So there's that reality, and it's like, what's going on out here? And it feels like it's happening to me in that reality. So what's one of the buts that you had that you got that you could share?
I had a yeah, but no one's going to want to support this vision or get on board unless they're being paid really generously from like the first day. Like who maybe will want to be a part of this idea for this first few months that that will include a period of a lot of insight and collaboration and a lot of other currencies being exchanged. But until we land on where financial currencies, until we build where there's flow and it's regenerative, who's going to want to be a part of this without being paid?
And that's, I mean, if I had that same, yeah, but we would have never had this conversation. We wouldn't be live right now, right? So it's a testament to that, how that yeah, but could prevent, because neither one of us are getting paid. We're just doing this conversation for the sake of putting the vision out there.
Right.
So, and so your currency or your financial, give me a little background on that and what your thoughts are, that vision of yours. Let me hear your vision. I want to hold it.
But well, let me tell you first real quick that I blew through that limiting belief. I encountered multiple people who told me without me saying anything. It was like it was scripted from the universe when I shared the vision, asked them if they saw an opportunity for themselves, told them what I saw this making possible. People said back to me, like I was in direct communion with what would be a dream to hear, that would be in alignment with the vision. I just want to be a part of this. Getting to be in this frequency is a gift. This puts me in an abundant state. As long as financial currencies come in 3-4 months, something like that, there is such exchange and flow happening here. Who I'm meeting, what I'm getting is possible, the introductions, the opportunities, what it's opening up that's far larger than getting paid for 2 weeks or something. And so everyone that was drawn to it was completely on board with the movement and the vision and beyond. And then, of course, it will be holistic and there'll be currencies moving through all the channels, but it's starting from a higher place and trickling down to the ground level.
So before you tell
going out of the water.
Yeah. So I mean, now that makes me reject. Before you even tell me what you're doing, I'm going to leave everybody in suspense that's watching. So, you blew through that, yeah, but people showed up in this way. However, you must have changed something so that you could blow through that, yeah, but like you have a trick or methodology or something to look at that.
Yeah. Well, you know what happened? So there's 3 principles I've been living by, and every collaboration I've been a part of, I've shared them as the founding ways of being that I'm committed to. And whatever this becomes, at a minimum, I'll be standing here, and I invite you to stand here with me. And it was that this will be regenerative, this will be emergent, and it will be quantum. So being regenerative means this will mirror living systems. This will mirror the way nature works, where everything that we're a part of will be regenerating of itself, and all our interactions with each other, other organizations, other partnerships will be regenerative rather than extractive, rather than even just sustainable, right? Sustainable is wonderful, but it means sort of keeping the balance, like what is happening, it kind of washes each other out, but it's a great place, though I'm moving towards regenerative. Emergent is also honoring that, like, we don't know, like, let's explore what's here in this space, what's here in this transpersonal space, who's showing up, what they're feeling called to contribute, what their skills and gifts are, and let's let this emerge into form. Let's be in the curiosity and the exploration. It's a discovery rather than like, this is what it is. Let's discover it together. And then quantum means that one, for me personally, it means that this is a year of quantum leaping, meaning this year we have the potential more than ever to really shift timelines and up level on every level, especially financial, that we have the capacity to release older narratives and stories and densities so that we can shift up. And we're being supported more than ever energetically and by each other for that to be a reality. So that's a commitment I stand in the space with, that like I will be holding space for whatever quantum leaps people would like to lean into. And that's actually a choice. It's not even luck, it's a choice. And then quantum, of course, also means that we're tuning into the unified field and we're all connected. And we can choose what possibility, we can choose our way of being, we can choose what we're creating, and we can stand in the fulfillment of that creation and discover it from there. So rather than working from here going forward with like a checklist of things to do, We're standing in the vision and a way of being and unfolding what happens along the way. So it's kind of it's like being in 5D and bringing it here rather than standing in 3D with just these huge lists of sludge to navigate through.
Yeah. So what I think I'm hearing is a regenerative, which I think how I might have said it in the past was people that have watched my stuff is harmonious, and
Sure.
like in harmony with nature, and not just sustainable, like you mentioned, like you pointed out, like actually making a positive impact, like with I always say as the force of life. Like we're actually a life force. We're expanding life.
Yes. That we're generating inside of us and is being generated around us. And inside of being regenerative means that we each can generate. We each are self-generative ourselves. So we're each sovereign beings, and we don't need to be dependent on an authority figure or even necessarily a leader. We can innovate and generate and co-create and collaborate. And that the field is that powerful. Like we have that much power and energy inside, and we're interacting with the same. So there's nothing like missing or lacking. Like life force, like you're saying, is charging through everything.
It's all here now.
Yes. And it's all now.
Infinite quantities. It's just a matter of being able to tap into it.
Yes.
And that masculine, feminine polarity, or yin and yang, or whatever we want to call it, that we talked about before, that may seem like getting smaller and expanding. That is like to me, in my mind, that's like the regenerative. If I was going to make it a 3D image, it's like,
yes,
heart always beating.
Yes,
knows exactly what to do. Okay, so I think I'm seeing your vision of regenerative. We see the same vision.
Yes, regenerative, quantum, emergent. Yes.
So I'm going to get to emergent now because I want to see this. I want to have this. I want to say it in my words, and I want you to say, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. Because it's going to make the vision stronger. And anybody watching, if you'd like to play along, drop in the comments.
Hi, Emily. Hi, Dan. We're happy you're here too.
Let us see, let us know that you're here with us. I mean, I see you're watching, but give me the comments, because it actually, writing it down is another force of manifestation. Right? So we're creating a literal ripple in space and time. So if you would like that, if you're vibing with this and you like this regenerative or harmonious or what we're saying, what are the keywords that are popping into you that, like, yeah, that one is the one, like, just put it out there, whatever it is. And by the way, Emily, you met Emily in Costa Rica. She would say butt so much that every time she said it, we had a game, and I would just say, "You love the butt."
Yeah.
So we made a game out of it, right?
Oh, so fun. And you actually know what's so brilliant about just having fun with that is that anything that shows up, this is a regenerative practice to make it really practical, is whenever these pieces come up that are the doubts or the limitations or our fear from our inner child or whatever part of us doesn't think it's ready to go forward, is we just love the shit out of that part. We just love it so much. We just go, oh my gosh, I love you. And the love just transmute and normalizes and comforts and transmute that piece so it can come into the whole and be in the harmony. It's what it wants so bad, but it's just afraid or it's not sure. It's gotten separated somehow. So just loving the butts. Like, that's so fun.
That's such a good point to make, because having that energy, all you need is love. I did a post on this today. Because it is that loving it. Like, there's a part of me, I know, that's that critical part that I'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that again. And I can laugh at it too. There was one time where I could beat myself up so much and always had guilt and shame because I repeated a word that I didn't want to read. I said one thing stupid, like, and I think everybody's gone through that, where they've said something stupid and beat themselves up for days over it, right? And the thing is, looking at that, whatever my error is, it's access to my greatness. The thing that I'm avoiding is the thing where all my power is.
Exactly. That shadow piece is like when we transmute through that, we go into the gift. I mean, even like in Gene Keys, right? That area becomes the gift and then becomes the city, which is like the highest virtuous expression of some way of being. So anytime, I love that you're saying that, anytime a shadow piece shows up, we're getting an opportunity to get even more expansive into the gift. We can't have the gift without that little piece. We literally have to go through it. You're inspiring me for some of my little.
Absolutely. So emergent.
Mm-hmm.
So what I really kind of took from that was, it doesn't mean that we know the what or the who or the why we're here where we're at. It's actually the organic discovery and curiosity.
Yeah.
I might even use
Yes.
existence, of just the existence of perception of a consciousness. And always here present, watching that unfold, maybe.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I actually have, I've written down somewhere some of the qualities of being emergent. Let me see if I can find them really fast. I think I might. But exactly. Yeah. Give me 1 second and I'm going to pull these up.
If you want to send me the link in Messenger, I can actually share the screen for it. Like another thing, another word that we're hearing a lot right now is revelation. Right? Revealing. Emerging is like coming to the awareness. So
okay. Let's see. Okay, so what I wrote down. So these are just some qualities that I've created. So when I lead groups that are emergent, I've asked the group to agree or share if they can resonate with these qualities as a way of being emergent, and it includes that that there will be more unknowns than knowns. There'll be more unknowns than most processes I've ever been a part of. That uncertainty will be a baseline. It's knowing that each of our voices and words have power and to hold that with integrity. The invitation is to create ourselves newly, knowing we can emerge fully in a new way in every moment. I understand that it's both an emergent process, so it's standing in the future and in the now. Let me see if this other part is here. Sourced. These others are emergent. I might not have the rest of it with me, but in short, there's a great book out there called Emergent Strategy that I look at a lot, and it's basically trusting the entire unknown and for it to form before you. So curiosity, discovery, being comfortable in this space, not filling the gaps. It's full of just questions, and it's being committed but not attached. So committed to the process and not attached to the forms or the formation. So like something that happens a lot in maybe current organizational structures we're in is that we can get very fixed to the form and who's involved, both the form, what it is, what the product is, what the group is, and who it's involved and what exactly it is. Like there's a question a lot of times we'll ask when we're not necessarily being emergent, and it's like, well, what exactly is this? And who exactly is involved? And there's not really an exactly in it. And so being committed to the journey and the process, and then there's times that it does emerge and the form is seen. And then knowing that, like, and this is the part that I think is sometimes challenging for us as humans, is we get attached to the idea and the people. And there's a deep trust and surrendering quality that serves this process of letting, if it's not aligned for someone or the product shifts shape, allowing that to happen and knowing that we're in service to the highest good. We're in service to the highest creation. We're not in service to our idea or what we thought it was. We're in service to the mission. We're not necessarily just in service to the way the professional partnership was set up. So it requires a ton of trust and a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of pieces of breaking away from the way that I thought the old was, as you mentioned there, where it was a particular, not just particular outcome that was desired, but it got the attachment to the strategy of how that outcome was going to be happening.
Execute.
And away from actually holding the vision, because the doing of it became more a focus than the being and creating it, and be able to have that letting go-ness. The outcome may be exactly what I get, or it may be something entirely, totally better, completely better. Like, and I have to be open to that things aren't going to necessarily look like the way I think they're going to look like now in the future. And having that ability to let go of all attachment on all that fun.
Exactly.
I can't stop hearing you.
Yes. And if I add one kind of underlying
that's the idea, dashboard, that you hear me, now you build on it, right?
Yes. That a way that, since we don't know, we can't guarantee the outcome's going to be what we thought. What we can create and declare with each other is the way of being. That what is the possible way of being inside of this creation that we all align with? And maybe that's being, you know, expansive, transformative, and of service. Or maybe it's being, you know, calm and, you know, it could be anything, generous and, you know, forward thinking. Whatever it is, the offering is really the way we're being. And then we can create what we want to happen, and we can have another key piece that makes it work. And this is a framework I use in most of my creations, is we can still put measurable results that will have us know we're on track, but they're ones that we know we can creatively align. So we're not controlling it, but we're saying this will be a benchmark that we know we're moving forward as far as what this way of being is that we want to bring into the world. And so we can measure it like that and let the form continue expanding and showing itself to us as we add to it and others add to it, and we allow that creation process to happen.
Absolutely. And with new data points coming on, we may change directions, or we may say, oh, we're staying full course, whatever it is. And that's such a key component, because we're actually doing this already. It's just a matter of how consciously are we choosing, right? Which leads me into the quantum, like, are we making the biggest leaps possible? Are we being courageous, right? With that courage from the heart. Are we being sovereign yet still all connected, right? So I'm in my truth, and I understand that that person that's standing right there is literally looking at the same thing as me, but from a different angle. They're literally, like, physically, if they were looking at something, we were looking at the same thing, we're looking at it from a different angle with our eyes. And that's going to be the same thing that's happening with all of our belief systems, all of our experiences, all the thoughts that we previously had, how we work, the culture, all those things. So it doesn't mean that either one of us are wrong when we're looking at, you know, I could say, what color is this mallet? And you're going to say, what color?
Red.
Are you sure?
Yellow.
Right? So, what a good prop I had here for that.
That was perfect. How that quantum.
So we could argue about that all day long, right? And then but we're looking at the same thing.
Yes.
And that those multiple truths being able to be real, now we can choose powerfully on what truth are we going to hold.
Exactly. Yes. So yes, I want to underline and highlight the courage that this takes. So quantum means, usually when any of us tune into the quantum field, the unified field, whatever we want to call it, the web of interconnection, it will bring us into the next version of ourselves, all of us. It will bring us all into more alignment, which includes bringing more synchronicities, more light, more possibility, everything into our life. And kind of like the popular Marianne Williamson quote, I think it's hers, is, you know, we're not afraid of our darkness. We're actually afraid and resist our light and how bright we are. And so I feel a lot of the time, just to tie this even into our visions, when we're sharing our visions, when we're telling a vision, it invites people into that quantum space, and it can bring up the things that we're not sure if we're ready for. And it's nothing to be afraid of, right? It's just more and more of ourself, and it's more and more magic and more wholeness, but we don't know that yet. It's the unknown as far as we're concerned. And so in that fear, it requires tremendous courage. And if I've learned anything in the last 6 months of sharing with people and supporting people in their journeys, like especially during this kind of window I feel like has opened up, is really admiring the courage it takes from people, and really respecting when it's not their moment and they need that's not where they're at. And what I found then on top of that is so amazing that you touched on is being courageous. And then it's recognizing our sovereignty, that we are whole and complete and fully resourced in and of ourselves. so that we're not dependent on what happens. We're not dependent on any circumstances or what anyone does. That is being in our full power, knowing we're going to be fine and great and co-creators no matter what happens. We have the power to respond to any situation or circumstance, and we're interdependent. So there's a respect and a sensitivity and an attunement to each other and a responsibility of our actions and our words and our impacts. And that is that amazing dance of co-creating, of holding both of those as true. And that's what I think is exquisite. And that shoots us into that. That's almost like the pathway to the quantum leap. When you can hold both of those in recognition, and maybe that's some of the yin and yang again, we start spiraling up, and others that are spiraling up find us, and we feel ourselves in that natural dance. And the third point about being quantum is, like you said, you might be sitting somewhere in a coffee shop and someone is seeing the same thing as you, but maybe from a different angle, and like the prop you just showed. Well, if we can look at our day like everything is connected. So sometimes we can feel overwhelmed, like, how am I going to be a part of that vision and do what I need to do to make money and have my meals and do yoga and get all my work done and, you know, all the things like we can feel like in linear time we need to do to take care of ourselves, right? Well, what if the quantum approach is that it's all part of everything? So maybe my call with you is a part of this vision, and this vision actually leads to someone who's going to hear it, which is part of each. Nothing is its own separate thing. What if everything is so intentional and exquisitely designed that everyone I'm interacting from is part of my constellation, and each conversation is part of it? And so it's sometimes when we compartmentalize things, it can feel overwhelming, like we have so much and it doesn't work. But what if it all works together and builds synergy and is a co-creative process right before our eyes, and all we have to do is see it that way? And that's what's quantum. When we see it that way, it shows up that way. If we don't see it that way, it won't show up that way. That is our other doorway and power to the quantum field.
I agree 100%. I call that like I say, everything is in divine order.
Yeah.
It's perfectly perfect, exactly as it is here and now. And it's just a matter of me seeing the gift in that. Because I was definitely a big proponent of making long lists and getting all this stuff done. And I grew up definitely in a place of, the more you accomplish in a day, the better, more valuable person you are. And I think a lot of people did that. You know, that Northeast neurosis is what I call it now. And what you're saying here is like, maybe actually doing, a perfect example would be what I think I hear you saying anyways. They did a survey on maids that were cleaning hotel rooms, and they started checking the calories that they were burning while they were doing this. And over the course of the day, they were burning enough calories so that they didn't need to go to the gym to burn additional calories, because their work was so active and it had them moving.
Yeah.
Right? While they're doing one thing, they get a byproduct of it. And that can be so intentional, just by like changing the way that you walk just a little bit. Like, oh, well, I need to exercise, so when I walk, I'm going to make sure I have a little more pep in my step. Yes. I love how practical that example is that you said, like about the maids, because exactly, this is kind of bringing the ancient ways back into the future, that like back in the day, right, we'd have to walk places and we'd carry stuff and we did more physical labor, so we were healthy and we burned what we generated. We came out balanced, right? And now we have technology and all sorts of things where our routines are different. So what if now we're operating on the next more subtle level, on the energetic level and the physical level? Everything is supporting everything. So like, you know, I think, what's another example I can give? Well, sometimes I look at my day and I think, wow, I have 8 phone calls. How am I ever going to do any of these other things? And then I'll look at the first person I'm talking to and I'll check out their website. Say it's not someone I've met yet, but a new client that I'm doing a laser session with. And I'll see, oh, she's a designer. She lives in New York. Okay, great. We have our session and simultaneously, I know I'm trying to look how to brand the next something I'll share when we get to my vision, something around called quantum money. Well, I'm looking to brand quantum money and I just have not had time to think about it or who to call or whatnot.
well, I'll see how the session goes, and I'll chat with this person after the session. So sure enough, I have this happen 2 days ago. I chat with her, and we created an exchange where she does exactly that and would be delighted to support me. And she's totally a fit, and she gets the style and aesthetic I'm going for. And so I wasn't a separate phone call. There was no search. There was nothing online I had to do that took hours. The person was already on my calendar, but for something else. But then because I was tuned in to my other intentions, needs, desires, outcomes, I was able to see that it was already right in front of me.
And had you been thinking, yeah, but nobody's going to want to help with this.
Exactly.
You wouldn't be able to see. It's a lens to see the world through.
Exactly. So I saw the possibility, I spoke to the possibility, and it was aligned and it's in motion. So it's outside of time and space. That's quantum. We're all connected. It doesn't need to be a time conversation. Doesn't need to be a money conversation. It doesn't need to be a distance conversation. It's all possible at all times. Time, space, and money are just pieces of threads we're working with. It allows creativity. It does not allow limitation. It gives us the way to actually look at something because we have a framework rather than it, we can think it's preventing us, but it's actually the doorway in.
And that's the key right there, I think, is what I think is preventing me from achieving whatever it is actually what I need to move towards. I think Alan Watts said something like, it's the ghosts that we're scared of. As soon as we walk towards them, we can walk right through them. Which, do you find that when you finally take that leap and you face whatever it is, are you like, oh my God, that was so horrible? Or are you like, why did I make this such a big thing in the first place?
Yes. The latter. It is mind-blowing. I almost feel like it's cliche and will very soon start becoming just like a meme on social media, like how big these real things seem. And then the moment we go through them, it's over. It was nothing. And it's almost unexplainable how much our mind creates it into something so big. And then our body, and we have a somatic experience that matches that fear and concern. And then it's not. So what I remind myself around that is just all that there is for me to do is go through these things. Just me going through it and being on the other side is the transformation. So I can take the pressure off of like the how and the what, and I go through it and that's it. And then it's over. And then I've shifted and it's different. And I no longer relate to that belief. But that journey, I mean, that's the sacred journey. As much as it's simple to just face a fear and go through it, it's actually what I think all of our spiritual work amounts to. It's the most sacred part of what we're up to call on that faith, to allow that grace it's grace that even happens for our human experience to walk across that bridge. We're entering a whole new galaxy almost, it seems, to that part of us.
Yeah, and the journey can be a game. It can be a movie script. It can be hell on earth, right? Yeah. If I have too much control, the roller coaster ride, whatever, it can be anything. Like, yes. And it just always depends on that perspective and that word or that phrase, yeah, but, or just the but itself. Yes. Is one of those things that can definitely make the ride more scary.
Yes. Yep. Yes. And that's where projections are so great to recognize, right? Which is a big part of our development through a certain stage, is realizing, let's say someone shares something with us or we share with them, and whatever we say, like a yeah, but, or what if it's just, we have a judgment about it, or we think it's wrong, or we can't believe that they're having that audacious vision, or we don't think it's possible, or whatever it is, realizing that is our own. And it's not even actually true at all about what the person's saying. It's actually, that's a cue. Like whenever we say that to someone else, it's a cue that's our own belief system projecting itself onto life.
How many times have you given advice to people and be like, oh, I need to take that? That was actually for me.
Oh my gosh. And I mean, I think that's the power of being a coach, right? Everything I'm saying is for myself and for them. And anyone I'm working with, we're connecting over around a shared aspect of ourselves that we have with each other. And I think that's the power, Ian, of being these conversations. And, thank you for that, is that like, we're all talking to ourselves and to each other and validating and affirming, and we're co-creating. And everything I'm saying is totally helping me and helping me continue becoming. And so 100%, who are we actually talking to?
Well, yeah, what I find is really helpful for me, and when I talk to people like yourself, is when you say something, I say it back to you and say what I think I heard, right? So I'm doing that exercise, not necessarily to share my story, because it's not necessarily about whatever it is for me. It's for, okay, let me make sure I understand correctly what you say. And if I even when I say the words verbatim back to somebody, whether it's paraphrasing, which I'm doing here for sake of time, I want to get as much as we can out to the world.
Yes.
So whether I'm paraphrasing or I'm saying verbatim back, the response is always, oh, let me tell you more about that.
Yes.
It's actually using my mind as a scratch pad, right?
Yes.
So they can go deeper and define more of who they are and what. And
Yes.
I mean, I think what I'm hearing is I would like to live in a world where each being is sovereign. They live by these practices of being regenerative.
Yes.
And always in their power as a result of being regenerative. Sovereign is kind of a theme for all three of these. The emergent, they're always in a state of curiosity, willing to let go of things and letting see what shows up and go for the ride. And they're willing to make big leaps. That doesn't mean big leaps all the time, because sometimes just like cruise control, coasting is like, this is beautiful, like no matter what it is.
Yes.
And it's all connected though. So it's my choice, that free will aspect.
Yes.
In that, it's kind of that sovereignty piece of it.
Yes.
And that's what you envision for humanity, everybody walking in this state.
Yes. 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 And to work on the scratch board with you.
More about that.
And that the power is in being a role model of that, which is such an integration of my life, because I'm a role model. I'm with an modeling and acting agency called Role Models. And I'm also part of my vision, Ian, is I am growing and training 100 people this year to be quantum money coaches, meaning they can bring this way of being with people and sit with people one-on-one and hold a transformational space for how people are in their life with money and what their contribution to the world is. And what I see possible is that we go through this process ourselves, so that our way of being is actually just modeling it to others. And that's actually so much of what happens in being a coach or being a mentor or being in friendship with people, is that we're taking those steps that seem to be out on like the skinny branches. We're taking those risks. We're tapping into our deepest courage. We're stepping out in the unknown. We're speaking out. And it's by that attraction that others grow and come and follow. And it goes viral. It becomes irresistible. Like, why would we want to be any other way? So it's like practicing. I think it's being it ourselves and letting it spread.
Yeah. And if there is another way of being that somebody wants to be, we can create the space for them to be that. And it may even expand my own limited paradigm.
Yes.
So I love what you put out there. Like, people tell me, can you get on board with this? Like, I'm on board with this. Like, this is what my heart says. Like, I want everybody to live in that space where they're leading from who they are authentically. And we're talking about money here. So living in a state of abundance, which is, want to talk quantum here and get personal, is one of the things I just recently did was start taking control of my finances. I've done very well with my money and have put myself in a good position, but I had that out and somebody managing that, and I was paying them to manage it. And it wasn't being managed to the level that I would manage it. Like, that's just the way it works if I take attention on it. So we're having this conversation around, this is actually actively what I'm doing right now, is taking control of these pieces. And I think that falls into that role model piece of this. Like, that's all there is to do, people. Like, be it. Just be it. And you don't have to lecture anybody. I'm not here to lecture anyone and tell them how to be. I'm just here living in my authentic truth and sharing it, and having this dialogue as an example and as a vision, right? And the more that we have these conversations, the the scratch pad does the unraveling of things,
Yes.
and we have new epiphanies and distinctions and new beliefs
Yes.
come up, and boom,
Yes.
magic needs to happen.
Yes, yes, yes. And well, I almost want to show you some things, given you're tuning into your money that leads. I almost want to show you a quantum framework. We can see how the time goes. I don't know how long we have left here.
Yeah, we have about 7 minutes left to keep it at an hour.
Okay.
Which I think we keep it an hour or less. And I wanted to hear about what you're doing in this process. So is this a good fit for that, or do you want to do another one?
Let's know now. Quantum now.
Okay. Perfect.
Yes. Well, the last little piece, just to tie up what you were just saying, though, is how important it is to, you're saying for everyone to just be it. I think that's like the inspiration, maybe even in closing of this, and then I'll share a little bit more of what I'm putting out in the world, but it's for us all to be listening for those opportunities to be it. Because like I was listening, you gave me an opportunity to be it. And then I hope I'm putting out there an invitation for people to be it. And, and I'm doing that. And we're all doing this in our lives. And how amazing if we're both sharing and listening for the opportunity to be who we're saying we want to be, and it just being a practice. So there's no perfection. And like you were saying earlier, we may fall off the bandwagon. We may say something we totally regret. We might have a day where we're totally off. We might have a conversation that goes poorly, but it's fine. We can forgive, we have compassion, we clean it up, and we just come back to that way of being. And that's the practice, to keep coming back. And so that's what I'm really gaining myself, is both the sharing and the listening for, because that's being a creator. That's the co-creative way of being.
I think that's a really good point. And there's a linkage that I'm just going to tie in. Emily and I had another game that we still play, is when one of us was getting kind of out of whack from where our vision was, the question was, who are you being?
Yes.
And the who are you being will automatically give to the way of being.
Yes.
So
yes.
The way of being can be like kind of complex. However, if I can look at a model, and that model could be anyone, anything, living, dead, TV, whatever. It can be, who am I being? I'm God watching. What is that? How is that?
Totally. Exactly. That is it.
And we had that game of saying, who are you being? So I invite people to throw that into their nomenclature. And at first it was like a trigger, because it would pop us out of our sleep or whatever, our little
that
we were going in. And now it's like, it's a game. It's like straight out, like, who are you being right now? We'll go into character over it. That's the person to be triggered. And it's Shakespearean.
Bring play back in, because we can take ourselves so seriously. And this whole thing is a game. I mean, it's not a game in a, dismissive, but it's like we can inspire. It's a play. It's a grand play. Yes.
So show me. I want to see a little bit about what you're.
Oh shoot, you're breaking up. Uh-oh.
We good? Can you see me?
Ian?
Yeah, I'm here.
I can hear you now. Yes.
Yeah, and even if I'm cut off, it's still got you. So let's show us what you got here. I'm really curious to see it.
Okay. Well, hold on one second here. Let's see. I didn't come planning to share this, so let me upload it. So how will I share my screen though?
You gotta send it over to me, and I can download it.
Oh, well. Maybe I'll just do a visual. I'll just verbalize. Why don't we just chat?
Yeah.
We only have 5 minutes left. So I guess I'll share, what I'm creating is ways of being with money that will be what support us in walking across the bridge from this current financial paradigm and economy that we're in and into the next. So the framework that I really do want to show you demonstrates how we're currently operating like we're on a line, like we're operating in linear time with money. And that involves waiting, wishing, planning, investing each month, or paying off loans each month. And it's everything is like doing now for the future. So that's kind of the 3D linear time financial plan. And the premise really is, what if we are living in a sphere of possibilities? And there's an upward spiral that we're traveling through. And all that there is to do is set an intention and be mindful of where you put your attention and focus. And that is what's going to synchronously line you up with possibilities that are in alignment for you on every level, financial, emotional, psychological, to keep moving up the spiral. And so in this diagram, I show all these dots that we're surrounded in possibilities. And all that's there for us to do is align, choose the state of being we want to be in, and we will align with those possibilities. And so as we as humanity start to realize that we're not just traveling along this line and needing to plan for our future and needing to be following the markets and needing to make sure we're caught up and doing the right thing with our money, what if we stepped into the now? We realized we're inside of a living system and we honored this upward spiral path that we're on.
I'm right there with you. And that's how I really, actually, my heart, like, know it to be true. And to the point where part of the reason we're here in Costa Rica is because we want to eliminate the dates.
Is to what?
What day of the week it is, unless we go to a restaurant and it's closed. I'm like, oh, they're closed on Tuesdays. So it kind of took out that linear time aspect of things. And time is a tool, and using it is a great thing, but it's really still an illusion. So what you're saying here is it gives people an opportunity for possibilities that they maybe never thought were possible before.
Yes.
It's as simple as people say, well, to get to $100,000 to $1 million is a long ways, and it's like, actually all it is moving a decimal point.
Yes,
I just move a decimal point to the right, and then I'm there. One way.
Keep turning the dial. Exactly. It's not all this time, all this effort, all this activity. It's actually coming into that next click of alignment, that next click of your personal integrity, that next click of your excitement, and you're connecting to it. It's like stars in the solar system, just coming into alignment of your constellation. That's the whole journey. And it's amazing when we trust and see that process like happen before our eyes.
And things will happen. So for those of you 3Ders out there in this,
which is all of us, we all have our feet in 3D.
So
anyone stuck to their 3D financial plan?
Yeah. So anybody that's thinking in that 3D space, things will happen. I promise you, things will happen. Decisions will be made. Moves will be made. Words will be spoken. Those are all things that happen in the 3D. The sound waves, the light waves, like physical action. That stuff will happen. It's going to happen. However, it's going to happen as a result of who I'm being in this alignment. You're helping people to really get clear. Am I right that you're helping people to get clear on who they are, so that they can actually help those people around them get clear on who they are, so this ripples out and everybody's walking with this regenerative nature, emergent, and quantum as sovereign beings, complete free will, running around the planet in heaven and earth.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And because when we're not doing what you just described, it's oftentimes some form of fear that we're operating from. Because I believe we would all be our truly full, authentic self if we weren't afraid of how it might be perceived, or if we'd be able to generate revenue doing it, if we're going to be safe and okay. So as we all start to let this higher information and this higher wisdom come through us and all the way down into our security center, and come to realize that, whoa, being my true self is actually the safest, most secure position. As that truth and information starts trickling through, we're all going to begin aligning more and more with that. And just like we're seeing on a collective level, we're starting to move out of fossil fuels. We're starting to move out of extraction because it's out of integrity for us. It's just not in integrity with all of life and wholeness. And as we're moving out of that, clean energy, renewables, all these things are coming through. Not only are they better for the planet but it's actually becoming a more wise investment, or it's actually becoming a financially wise thing to do. So the risk of actually being out of alignment financially or otherwise will start showing itself and will support us all into making those empowered choices that are aligned with us, that we will also financially benefit from.
It's always that emergent or revelation process, right?
Yeah.
That's really revealing right there, that you just really pinpoint. It's so great to hear. Thank you for being on today, Mira Megs. If people want to get in touch with you, I will have a link for you. We'll put it into the comments here and in the show notes as a podcast. Check that out. Is there something, best way people contact you? Is it Facebook, Instagram, email?
Yeah, well, my website is Financier, Finansseer, like seer, financier.com. You can find me there. And yes, Instagram, I'm Mira Megs Lathrop, and on Facebook. Please follow me, join the conversation. I actually have a Facebook group where we go deeper in this conversation. So anyone listening is also invited to that.
Yeah, you do. You do a lot of free events. I think I saw that, where you just really just share this stuff for people. You're not like pushing a hard sales program, that you really just want to see the world benefit. And so I encourage anybody to take advantage of that. Thank you so much for your time. God bless. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Please share this if you're vibing with it. And we'll see you soon on the next television. And if you have a vision, that you would like to share with the world, that's in the vibe of heaven on earth, making this world a beautiful, beautiful place. It's already a beautiful place. Make it even more a beautiful place in whatever way. Or even maybe want to come on and just talk about how beautiful it already is. Please hit me up. Let's have a conversation. God bless you all. And we'll speak to you soon. God bless.